as it does for everyone out here. Rabukakas later what he plays, and the sun shines so bright for all. So let us get back to love. Through your pains, they seem not true. So let us get back to peace. Depends it too, depends it too. That I wish to hurt you, yet we have the same blood, same air we breathe every single day. This love we need to make us all live in peace. So let us get back to love. So let us get back to peace. Nipenzi too. See the stars shining bright for me, as it does for everyone out here. Rabukakas later water he plays, and the sun shines so bright for all. So let us get back to love. Through your pains they seem not true. So let us get back to peace. Nipenzi too, nipenzi too.
Mavo Pandis, hey yo busy. Atax Entertainment, ukanake. Imenyithia gutagathwo ati ni njurite njaritio muno mweri riu ni muthi arata kwao na ciari no mitangiko mathiete guothe kinya gwe Simon Kibe tondu no mende kumenya kuria ndathire thimo ituire mutenja nindahoririe papa tendariaga.
Power Radio, tune in and power up. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Network ni sawa ukikaribia, appetite yangu si asinia, story yetu nitakanyagia. Tulieni kupange, hakuna pale sifiki, ona tuko kileleni, na sikushiki, umenijaza na ma feelings, moto ni ya lighter. Sio ya kibiriti. Tulieni kupange. Pe, 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 pe. Tulieni kupange. Pe, 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 pe. Tulieni kupange. Pe, 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 pe. Tulieni kupange. Pe, 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 pe. Unawacha wife juu ya ho. Unaingia chama bila do. Unatoa moshi bila ndoo. Nani huyu hatoki kwa choo? Nani mbogi gani hii haina form? Msanii mgani huyu hana show?
matoe kutu nkikula dengo. Niko 50-50, usini confused na sanse, na sina trust ya manjege, mapasta na madenge, na maodi tuko genje.
Kuna maodi watanda, hao si magondi, wanapiganga tanta, jasho bila koti, kazi ya usiku banza, wanasaka kodi, wako na noti, hawajitoti.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up. Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Usiku wa joto, usiku wa manane, usiku usioishia, katikati ya Julai, tulikuwa na furaha, hatuku stress na uhai, tulijua tu city lights ya Nairobi, they shine so bright. Remember dancing in the moonlight up until the sunrise, strobe lights glaring oh so bright, katikati ya Julai, ya Julai, ya Julai, ya Julai. Skin to skin, follow the beat the whole night. Oh, we'd be disco queens, but that was way before our time. Our life is out, so we take it. So let's run naked, paint the city pink. We deserve to take it. Let's get our lick back, fight the system, we can break it. Chase our dreams until we make it. Dancing in the moonlight up until the sunrise, strobe lights glaring oh so bright, katikati ya Julai, ya Julai, ya Julai, ya
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio. Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
That was July by Rogoro. And before that, you were listening to Tulia Nikupange by Matata featuring Nviri. Welcome to She Talks on Power Radio. We are live on studio today. Tumetoka kwa grounds. Happy Monday. It's a whole new week. I hope you guys had an amazing, amazing weekend. Mine was, hey, niko na usingizi. Sikuwa sherehe. I wish ningekuwa nilienda sherehe. I was not shereheing. On Saturday, I was planning a surprise birthday party for my baby brother. And that went off very, very well. He was very, very happy. His friends had fun. And then yesterday, I was working all day into the night. Like from the moment I woke up at 6 a.m., I went to bed at 1 a.m. Hey, kujipenda ni of importance. Welcome to She Talks, and this is Power Radio. We are an online radio station. My name is Muthoni Gitawa, and I am the host of this particular show where we talk about everything around women's issues. And today we'll get into a couple of topics. We'll see what's happening out there. I want to know how your weekend was. You can tweet or X us. Is it called X us? Because now it's X. And then if you posted it before, it's called the X's. What are the terms now? Unajua sisi old schoolers tumezoea it's a tweet, you retweet, so I'm like, now if it's post, it's not as fun. Anyway, so you can X us on X at Power Radio. That is PAWA Radio. The hashtag for the show, if you want to contribute, is hashtag She Talks on Power Radio. My name is Muthoni Getao. I am very excited to have a couple of cool conversations with you today. But for now, let's listen to Pretending by Brandy Minor.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Ya wengi wana uchungu walingiza baridi mjujifanyaga danda sidhani sishiki lazima nitaprove chaguo langu mziki. The truth is that they really don't care everything about them faking when you're there. They be wolves in cheap clothing. People be pretending. The truth is that they really don't care everything about them faking when you're there. They be wolves in cheap clothing. People be pretending.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
That was Brandy Minor with Pretending. Let's do a weekend roundup kidogo kwanza before we get into today's business. Over the weekend, we were at the People Dialogue Festival. A couple of you came and hanged out with us. That was cool. If you're not aware, the People Dialogue Festival was happening at the University of Nairobi. It started on Wednesday and went through all the way to Saturday. And we were there and we were actually broadcasting on ground, on site. And it was quite an interesting thing. I was so shocked at how many students showed up. And I was like, wow, must be nice. Because when I was in high school, we weren't really taking places. No one was bringing us to a dialogue festival to listen to people. No, not really. During the weekend, there were a bunch of students and they had like their own sessions where people were talking to them about politics and governance so that like they understand how these things actually work. And I'm like, that's actually very important. We need to start having these conversations with people early, because as a conversation that Kina Jagero were having last week, we have a lot of political apathy in the country, and I get where it comes from, but also I think one of the biggest issues we have is the lack of information, and we don't even know what parts we're expected to play. They were also talking about like voter apathy in connection to political apathy, and the conversation about feeling like your voice doesn't count actually came up. And I feel like a lot of young people feel that. So at the People Dialogue Festival, these conversations were being had, and to an extent, they were also being had with the members of those political parties, and young people were talking to them and saying, hey, we don't feel involved. Unfortunately, sometimes people show up to these things with their own agenda, because in one of those conversations, I remember someone talking about how there was this particular political party that's been in power for our former president was like a founder. It has a jogo and everything, that party. So someone from that party was on a panel. And on this panel, they were being asked, okay, where are the young people in your party? And they were like, well, we have a couple of positions and we have young people in those positions. But when you look at those particular positions, they're not positions where decisions are made. It felt more like you're just given seats so that people can say there's young people involved, other than it being really, young people's voices being placed and centered in those parties. So anytime they were being asked a question, they were getting very defensive. But I am glad that at least the conversation has started. I often feel like starting the conversation is often very, very important, because it's better than the conversations not being had at all. So yeah, that's what was happening over the weekend. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about SDGs because I've had those words, that abbreviation being thrown around. I've had people talk about it. I've even had people talking about like, oh, if you're pitching, make sure to mention SDGs. And I'm like, what are those? What are they? But now I completely understand what that means, because I had a sit down with Helen, who is she told me she's the gender lead for the SDGs forum in Kenya. And I was like, cool. So she really demystified what that was. So we had some awesome conversations around that. Also, Friday was International Women's Day, but for the women of Kenya, I know it was not like the bestest of days, because we received some really terrible news about the scraping of Linda Mama, and we'll be having that conversation later on the show today. In the second hour of the show, that's the conversation we're actually going to dive into. That's the topic I want us to really have a really deep dive and understanding of what that means for Kenyan women right now. But before that, like, that's the weekend roundup. And so let's listen to Addicted by Kamula.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
You see, addicted, you got my body lifted. Girl, you're so gifted, I never should have ifted it. Don't believe I missed it. How did I not get this? Leave me so breathless, leave me so helpless. Shame on the pain that I feel is in your name. Yet again, I'll be floating like a KLM plane. My game should back this dame, but she's so against me like a kid in broccoli. Sorry, let me speak properly, but she bad to the bone, so she oughta know me. Slowly, I will approach thee, stroke on my goatee, then introduce me. No need to blame it on her. Cause girl, I know you wanna get loose. In truth, I'm a real sweet dude, so this song is for you. I'm addicted to you.
Hey, I never saw it coming. Something about you that I just keep wanting. And I don't know what else to say. I never ever felt this way. You got me so
Yeah. Young Cass. There go. Guess my pretty lady. Yeah, you drive me crazy. Like I'm blindfolded, high rolling in a Mercedes. In one word, baby girl, you're amazing. Yeah, you got me sprung, baby. Can I have you daily? Want you by my side, baby, if I had a wish. Always need you there to give me a little kiss. From day one, I knew it would be like this. I'm loving your swagger, baby, you so glamorous. Yes, my pretty mommy, or should I call you darling? Be my princess and I can be your prince charming. We can hold hands in the sands in Malawi. Then we set sails on our way to Diani. I take you where the weather is sunny, and it's all on me, baby girl, don't bring no money. I got a chef if you ever feel hungry. Breakfast in bed, eyes red, late in the morning. Cass.
I never saw it coming. Something about you that I just keep wanting. And I don't know what else to say. I never ever felt this way. You got me so I know what this could be if you and me got along. In time you see that you need me. And oh, hey,
Power Radio. Tune in and power up. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Some days you feel like the world is on fire. Some days you feel like you're swimming and flying. Some days you wake up and you don't feel like you wanna chase what you don't see. But some days you feel like you're floating up high. So how about you try this time? Lifting up your head and sing out. What more than I see, there's more inside of me. Just lift up your voice and say, nitajaribu tena kesho, nitaamka upya na nisonge. Hata wakipenda kunivunja, mambo yakizidi unga, sitashindwa kujivuta. Kesho naamka upya, kesho naamka upya. Some days I know that you think of surviving, but you sleep and wake up and don't feel like fighting. But there's space in your soul to keep wanting more, to desire to soar. But some days you know that their words, they mean nothing. So how about you try this time? Lifting up your head and say, what more than I see, there's more inside of me. Just lift up your voice and say, nitajaribu tena kesho, nitaamka upya na nisonge. Hata wakipenda kunivunja, mambo yakizidi unga, sitashindwa kujivuta. Kesho naamka upya.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
That was Kesho by Bridget Blue. Hey, this babe has such a beautiful voice, and I love the way she writes her music. Or at least the way her music is written. I don't know if she writes it herself or with a team. I really, really appreciate the way her music is written. It is Monday. Me, I don't know. Are the vibes vibing for you? I don't know. This Monday is like, the Mondays that Mondayest Monday that has ever Mondayed. That's how this Monday is feeling. I know it's my lack of sleep. It has nothing to do with Monday. I'm sorry, Monday. It's not on you. It's all on me. But it's a very Mondayest Monday. So a little something has been happening. Let's get into the threads. Kenyans have been reacting to the fact that Jackie Maribe just landed herself a state job weeks after being acquitted on a murder charge. Let me tell you, in this country, is for knowing, okay? If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. I'm sorry. But Jackie Maribe was announced to be the communication head for the Ministry of Public Services. And this announcement was made the appointment was made by the CS Moses Kuria. And she's now going to be the head of communications for the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management. First things first, I have no idea what that ministry does. Let's just start there, because I feel like there was like a shuffling that happened. There was a shuffling that happened, I think sometime last year, if I'm not wrong, where certain ministries were broken apart and then others were mixed together. And I still don't understand exactly what their mandates are. So this is one of those ministries where I don't understand what your mandate is, because public service, performance and delivery management, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? What are you delivering? And even performance, whose performance are you gauging? Is it the performance of other CSs? Is it the performance of the MPs, the MCAs? Like, are you gauging performance? I don't know what this. Does anyone know what this particular ministry is for? Because I don't. Public service. Okay, so which departments? I really don't get it. But anyway, Jackie Maribe was announced to be she's now the new head of communication, and Kenyans are having a field day on Twitter. We're going to come back and I'm going to read you all the reactions to this new appointment. But before that, let's listen to Good Vibes, because Jackie Maribe is on the good vibes. Good vibes, Jackie Maribe, because hey, loyalty is to the bad, man.
Power Radio.
Weka muziki,
Power
leo nataka kucheza. Nina mabeshte ndani kwa party, tunataka kucheza. Shida ni mingi, leo nataka kucheza. You know, we just wanna party and enjoy. Leo lazima nyama kwa wingi, ugali kidogo, pombe kwa wingi, chesa kidogo, mapenzi kwa wingi, chuki kidogo, situzitoke mdogo. For the sun fits on us, tujibambe pamoja. For the sun fits on us, tulewe pombe pamoja. It's all about good vibes, and inshallah. Good vibes, and inshallah. Good vibes, and inshallah. It's all about good vibes, and inshallah. Mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku tunapare. Mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku si tunapare.
Holla the man them, holla the girl them. What a go on every day we do it for the fun them. Sexy ladies in the party, man about money and you know it's an anthem. Give thanks to the Most High. Every day a blessing you see and we multiply. Bigger picture now your good side. A bigger picture now your good side. Jaba kwa wingi ngoi kidogo, usiogope choma foto. Pigia Cindy, pigia Jojo, leo tunarudi soko. Cause I know you sacrifice, tujibambe pamoja. I know you sacrifice, situchome kimoja.
It's all about good vibes, and inshallah. Good vibes, and inshallah. Good vibes, and inshallah. It's all about good vibes, and inshallah. Mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku tunapare. Nina mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku si tunapare.
Nina mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku tunapare. Nina mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku tunapare.
Good vibes, and inshallah. Good vibes, and inshallah. Good vibes, and inshallah. It's all about good vibes, and inshallah. Mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku tunapare. Mabeshte ndani kwa gari, kila siku si tunapare.
Power Radio. Tune in and power from sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That was Good Vibes, because Miss Jackie Maribe is definitely on good vibes after landing a new job, weeks after being acquitted of on a murder charge, right? Yes. Kenyans are reacting to this, and as usual, they are reacting in the most hilarious of ways, because Kenyans and coping mechanisms. How does this see? So I'm going to read you some reactions that I've come across. The first one that I found very interesting was someone asking, and this is what they suggested. They said, this might be the start of Jackie Maribe's political career. The same trajectory Waiguru used after her NYS scandal. In Kenya, you have to be involved and play in the mud. And with proper godfathers, the script favors you to get elevated politically. So, Maribe for women rep, MP, question mark. And that's actually, I'm very curious, because when I saw that tweet, I was like, oh, wait. It's like a scandal happens, and then you have like certain high-level players holding your hand. In this case, we know the person who's been very vocal as all this was happening, the court proceedings and everything, was Itumbi. And he's been talking about how, they're friends. And I think even like when the case was first started, they were like, he would tweet and he would like, show his support. You have guys like Sonko who have been showing their support and have even congratulated the new head of communications for the Ministry of Kirea. I've already forgotten something, delivery management. Because, it's what? The Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management. Performance is not separate. It's public service performance and delivery management, whatever that means. Anyway. So, we've seen like some high players in the political space actually not just congratulating her, but holding her hand while she was in court and like encouraging her and, things like that. So that's actually a very good question, because does this mean like after a while we will see her? Anyway, by the way, as we are so predictable as a nation. Why is it like the moment someone has a scandal, our first thought is like, ooh, political office? Because isn't our president someone who was like on the international stage in a courtroom where he was being accused of crimes against humanity? And so was our former president. So I'm like, trajectory ni ile. Like I said, loyalty to the bag. Loyalty is to the bag. No one wants to be the poors. Someone else says, haters and dissatisfactioners say the government belong to the people because Jackie has been appointed into Serikali. I tell them Jackie Maribe is also people. If no one knows you, please work hard to be known. At least anzia hapo. You know what? I have nothing to say to that one. I don't have ninis. Acha tunaachia hapo kwa huyo. We will not contribute. We will not add on to that. But the first person to get a government job on a Sunday, Jackie Maribe. #ni Mungu tu. Kenyans, because this announcement was actually made yesterday. And it's interesting because hii ofisi na wakingi on Sundays kweli. Is there a reason as to why it was being announced on a Sunday? That is another question that, Mimi, I'm like, baby girl, get yours. Get yours. Because if we're being honest, our former president also had like a court case, akakuwa acquitted. And now he was the president for how long? I even forgot. It's been too many years. Or it's been a short time that feels like too many years. One of the two. The feeling of the presidency and the presidency itself. And even like our current president, was he not also part of that case? So if they get to go ahead and vie for political seats, why not you, baby girl? Why not you? Get your bag. Loyalties to the bag. Get your bag, do your job. And also, I personally think she'd actually be very qualified for this job. Yeah, it sucks that it comes after a scandal. But I think naturally, she'd have been someone who would probably have applied and qualified for the job because she was a journalist, and you also know even like the government spokesperson right now, right, was a former journalist. So I'm sure like, her studies, see, she went through communications. She's someone who's worked in communications, basically. So you know what? Scandal aside, she's possibly very much qualified for the job. The only thing is that it took a scandal for you to get the job. That's the iffy part. That's the part where I'm just like, okay, sawa. And now, we don't know the criteria. We don't know what the things that happen in the back end for her to be appointed. But you know what? Good for you, baby girl. Good for you. Here is OnlyFans.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Hello, Niri betinde why you don't ungekuwa nami huishingi hatungepatana ukinikata mara moja wezi nitamalaya and you're telling everybody that this Gucci's on fire only fans kwenye imefika nafungua only fans kaunanipenda tu mafea in advance kwenye imefika no romance with no finance only fans yeah yeah only fans kwenye imefika nafungua only fans kaunanipenda tu mafea in advance kwenye imefika no romance with no finance only fans yeah yeah
Hello, ladies blowing up my phone. Aki bien you are so bomb. Wakituma fea twakuja kwako. Oh yo, steady grinding all night long. Na sikuji kasi form ya door. Itabidi ukanje ndo tupige show. Ukisikia sauti solo jue ni kubaya. Hii muziki ya Kenya twaipeleka Ulaya. Na temperature inapanda warazi wanakwaya. Tutashinda magrami before tumeretire. Mise only fans walimefika natambua only fans. Kanika kitu umetumia only fans. Walimefika nafanyia only fans. Only fans, yeah, yeah, only fans. Walimefika natambua only fans. Kanika kitu umetumia only fans. Walimefika mutambua only fans. Only fans, yeah, yeah.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio. Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
That was Only Fans by the Only Rosa featuring Bien. And I really like that song because hata nikwambia venye economy inaenda hata mimi niko tu hapo na Only Rosa niko like hata mimi nakaa nikantafungwa tu Only Fans because tumeambiwa sijui we need how many streams of income ndio to survive Nairobi. Wewe nami hata ni ushago na bado na struggle. The economy is bad everywhere. It is a difference ni mahindi ni 50 bob Nairobi kwetu ni 30 bob. That's the only difference. Everything else same. Hata mimi hapo hivyo imagine. You know what? Inaonekana tutaenda hiyo direction sisi wote because tutabonyeza laptop tupate dollars. That is the option. I want us to go through something that I came across this morning in the papers. And it's quite disturbing. It's the sexual abuse in school. This is the Daily Nation and it's on the front page. And the first statement they have is like, a host of secondary school students are suffering in silence as sex predators, including their classmates and teachers, pounce on them, with their complaints often being ignored even by their own parents who will stop this silent epidemic. And they have an entire story where they talk to different parents about the instances where their kids finally came clean about the stuff that was happening in school. This is on the page 7 of the Daily Nation. And it's interesting that... So the first story here, it's about a parent who's talking about how immediately their child went to Form 1. They came back home and they were like, I need a transfer. And the parents immediately were like, we literally just got to this school. We're not about to go tarmac trying to find you another school for you to go to. And then the child went back to school and they were in school for a whole year. And then now when it was time to go to Form 2, they came back and said, by the way, imagine, uko mimi sirudi. And after this time, like the second time round, the child was a lot more like, by the way, imagine, you can't force me. I would rather be at home, this one's for... That's when they were like, oh, kumbe, this is serious, okay. And it was, I think sometimes with these things, it's harder to have these conversations with our parents, or it's harder to have the conversations with parents because sometimes you don't even have terms to explain what the problems are. And I think it stems from the fact that we hardly ever talk about what sexual assault is or sexual abuse and what it looks like and the different forms it presents. So sometimes things can happen and someone will think that they have a problem, or they might think that they're the reason that something is happening to them, but in truth it's because someone else is a predator. It's not about you. And the thing that scares me the most about this particular story is that, first of all, we are living in a society where kids are being hypersexualized, and it's really, really disturbing. You've seen the pages on TikTok, you've seen photos on Twitter, X, and even Facebook pages where predators literally gather. They gather there, and it's children who are like 3 years old, 5 years old. Because these days, me, I am scared. I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think parents should be posting photos of their kids anymore. And it's not about like, oh, we're telling you, oh, keep them private. No, it's to keep them safe. Because the world out here is very, very scary. And the more you see these stories, the scarier it sounds. So already young kids, toddlers, are being hypersexualized. Where I remember sometime last year, there was this photo on Twitter, and there was a photo of a really cute little baby girl. And I was just like, oh, she's so pretty. And, you move on. She's like, oh, she looks very nice. You're like, oh, that's a nice baby. But then the comment section, it was a bunch of men, they were saying very suggestive things, and it was very disturbing because I didn't understand how you could look at that same photo and you immediately look at this child and think, oh, sexual objects. I've never understood that. And I can't pretend to understand a perverse mind because I don't have one. So I don't know how these people think. And I even remember 2 days ago coming across a video on TikTok where someone was talking, they were like talking about a specific account where there's this woman who has been posting her child, pandering to those particular people. And the person was reacting to, or they were saying that in a couple of years, that child will be online making a video saying how, like this one's like, get ready with me as I tell you how my mom posting my photos on social media when I was a child ruined my life. Something like, I'm paraphrasing, but that was the idea of that entire clip. And now going back to kids in high school, we also see how people now, away from the toddlers, the teenagers, you are seeing men talking about like, oh, age is nothing but a number. Oh, age doesn't matter. Oh, we like them young because sijui we can, and it's a matter of control, let's be honest. So if teachers are doing this in school, and then like the thing with other students, it's like, because I remember one of these stories where they're saying, oh, some students are forcing other students into lesbianism or into sexual acts, right? Because if it's like a boarding school and it's a girls only school, or if it's a boarding school and it's a boys only school, and they're like, oh, they're teaching our sons gayness. It's I think we need to be very careful with how we handle these conversations, because sexual abuse in school from teachers, we already know. We've seen that we have like some of the highest rates of what the world likes to call teenage pregnancies. And I use those words exactly the way they are because for me, I think the only thing that constitutes a teenage pregnancy is if two teenagers were involved. If an adult and a teenage girl were involved, that is assault. It's not a teenage pregnancy. That's a conversation for another day, but that's the reason why I choose to use those words the way I've used them. When you look at this, because I'm like, what is happening in this? Like, do you talk to your kids? My question to parents is like, do you talk to your kids? Do your kids feel like you're a safe space that they can come have a conversation with you and say, hey, this happened to me, or this person said this to me and it made me feel uncomfortable? Or like, do you have space for conversations with your children? Or is it those ones for, you see your, because this reminds me of when I was a teenager and your parents sees you just talking to a boy on the road, and you come back home and it's just like, it's verbal assault. Basically, you're being told, "Hey, you're standing out there. You're trying to become pregnant. If you can become pregnant, don't come in this house." Da, 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 all those things, right? Threats and any. That's how it was. I don't know if parents are doing that these days, but when I was growing up, that's what it was like. And one thing I knew for sure is, even if I had questions, my mom was not the person to ask. My dad was not the person to ask, because they did not create an atmosphere where I could come and ask those questions and have a conversation with them about, even if it's just curiosity, or if you saw something and it made you feel some type of way, or if someone said something and it made you feel some type of way, or if someone touched you. Because even like when we have conversations of like, someone inappropriately touched me, do we know what that looks like? Do we know what that's, I don't know if we need to have ways to communicate these things, right? That way, if a child goes to school and a teacher says something, immediately they're like, "Ooh, that's inappropriate." If another student says something, you're like, "Yeah, that's inappropriate." Secondly, the other question I have is, do schools have channels for communication? Because also schools shame you. I remember when I was in high school, I think I was in Form 3 at that time, and the class I was doing Form 4, there was a particular student who was kicked out of school, and the claims were that she was trying to teach people lesbianism, which wasn't, because I'm like, I don't understand how that works, because like, what do you mean? Is it a class? Are we coming and sitting down in the dorms and being given instructions? Because the thing is, the other things we have to consider are, students in school understand things differently, right? So if we're not having these conversations, they'll misinterpret or interpret certain things in different ways, because again, they don't have the language for it. All they know is probably from TV, and right now access to social media and the internet has made it easier for people to just go Google and search things. And I remember her, she was such a quiet girl, and I honestly think it was a vendetta, because the person who reported her was a prefect, and so prefects' words had more weight than the normal everyday student in school. So if a student gangs up with like 2 or 3 other students and they go and report you, there's nothing you can do. And she ended up being kicked out of school, but she was in Form 4, so she had already registered for her KCSE. So when it was time to do KCSE, she was allowed to come do the papers, but she wasn't allowed to live in the school because it was a boarding school. So she would come in the morning, do her papers, and then in the evening she'd go. Our school was like uko mashinani. It was not in the towns or whatever. We were like deep in the bundus, and she had to rent out a room in like a tiny center. That center only had like 3 shops, and those shops opened like with timings. They'll open in the morning because people are buying milk. They'll probably open at lunchtime because the workers are, doing their thing, and probably in the evening because guys are going home. But that was it. She was forced to live there, and I personally don't think that was a safe space, in my opinion, looking back. And the conversation around school this entire time was about the fact that, she was trying to introduce lesbianism, she was trying to do this, she was trying to teach people, and that was the claim. But I know it was I personally believe it was a vendetta because someone didn't like her. So do schools have ways of investigating? Because also, if I come and claim so-and-so is trying to teach me lesbianism, how do you verify that as a school? Because you're not, one thing is, these teachers are never in the dorms with you. Let's start there. Secondly, they don't create an atmosphere for conversations. So it could be someone was passing and they're like, me, I'm a staunch Christian. And then someone says something about maybe masturbation, and they're like, this one is trying to teach people things. Come get rid of her. Right? So, what are the channels that are being used for communication for your students, and how do you equate these things? It's like this one is teaching lesbianism. This one is forcing people into gayism because those are the terms they use. I think we need to be very, very careful with the language we use and the words we choose to use, because in doing this is how we end up alienating a whole entire group of people. We start demonizing people for existing as who they are. But in school, this person is not, as in, there's so many people who are just curious. Someone will want to sit down and have questions and ask, and they're like, just, hey. Or there's also, I remember, like, there was this girl in our school that everyone decided was a lesbian just because she was a bit masculine, and guys were just like, that one is a lesbian. And so you'd see even certain conversations. So she was, I think, 2 classes ahead of me. Certain conversations where the jokes that were being made were always in light of, like, they were just because, oh, she's masculine, so she would say something even if it's a joke, and then someone would make a really, like, a terrible comment. So I think as we try and tackle, because yes, this is a problem in school, as we try and tackle these things, we also have to be careful and make sure we have rooms for conversation and we are safe spaces to have these conversations. Be it that the conversations are they about curiosity? Do I just want to know what constitutes abuse? Am I getting urges, and am I curious what that means? Because urges happen either way, right? Because I remember, again, in high school when I was, again, I think it was Form 3 or no, I was in Form 4 now. And I remember there was this girl who dropped out because she fell pregnant. She was a class behind me. And the saddest part was that after she dropped out, everyone, no, there was, I don't know if it was a rumor or how true it was, but then there was a rumor in school that the pregnancy was because, quote unquote, she was sleeping with the father. Our school was a Catholic school, and it was a Catholic school, so we were next to a Catholic church, and that meant we went for a mass into the church, and we were involved with things to do with the church. There's times we would handle services, we'd do stuff like that. So when that happened, and guys were just like, and it was blamed on her. And I was like, when you think about it, like, she's a child. If that was true, even given the rumors and everything, if in truth the pregnancy was because of this father, then that means this girl was being assaulted. But now you see, even the conversation around school, it was just like, you people stop doing this, or it's very sad that you can't take a child to school and know that they're safe. That's actually very, very sad. That's disheartening, because you pay all this money so that they take care of your child. Mimi, as someone who went through through a boarding school, because in high school I was in a boarding school, I would never take my child to boarding school. And it's just like the culture of boarding school, because there's hierarchy, there's people who want to dominate over others. There's the hierarchy of, you have prefects and how they use their power, because we're all students. And the moment someone is given kidogo power, they're like, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to do this. And so they exercise that power over you. And when they assert it, you will really feel it. I remember in high school, there's a time I got punished for keeping a diary. I used to write my thoughts down. And so even when I would hear random rumors and information, I wouldn't share that information with anyone else. I would just be like, hey, so apparently, and then I put it in my diary. These people broke into my locker. They read my diary, and then I was punished for keeping a diary. They were never punished for breaking into my locker, which, if you think about it, it's also a crime. I was punished for keeping a diary and writing my thoughts down instead of sharing them with other people like everyone else was doing in the class. And I was just like, that's how I stopped writing my thoughts down, and I just started not trusting anyone. Like, that's how my trust for all these people just went out the window. And at the same time, these two people, because it was two girls, they were both prefects. I was not a prefect. They were both prefects. So there was already a hierarchy. So they went straight to the deputy principal, who was the disciplinarian of the school. And I was punished. I remember my punishment lasted a whole week. And I just remember looking at these girls and being like, wow. I wasn't close with them. I wasn't tight with them. One of them tried to be friends with me again at looking for me on Facebook. To do what? To do what? I think on a personal note, I am not an advocate for boarding school. My experience in boarding school was terrible. If my mom tried to take my baby brother to boarding school, I would refuse. Actually, I'm the only person in our household who went to boarding school. And I remember when I came out, I was like, never send anyone else there. Don't send them there. Don't send them there. Because in truth, there's the aspects of I learned so much. I met people from different places. But at the same time, the experience was very scarring. It caused me to not trust a lot of people. And this was even like, because I wouldn't say that we didn't have sexual abuse, because clearly we did. When you think of the father and the student, and the question is like, so this father still stayed there. The student was kicked out of school, but this man still stayed there as the father of the church. So that means they probably just picked another student. And who even knows if there were multiple students that this father was assaulting? We don't know. We actually don't know. Maybe it was just this one ended up becoming pregnant. Maybe the others just didn't. But so things like, they cause me to really, really not trust these institutions at all. I really just, I really, really don't like it. And according to this particular article, they're saying that 73 is the number of teachers who've been deregistered and dismissed by TSC in 2023. And all of them, it was, a majority of them, it was perpetrators. They were perpetrators of sexual abuse. In 2023, 73 teachers. Can you imagine? These 73 teachers had access to so many students. Can you imagine the harm they caused to the students they were in charge of? Because also, it's actually really, really sad. And this can lead to so many mental issues. And these kids are so young. And when kids are scarred when they're so young, trying to undo that trauma, that's going to be hectic. I really hope that measures are being put in place to make sure that kids are safe when they go to school and these teachers are held accountable. It is now 12 noon. It's the top of the hour. We are going to listen to Kipetero Kiyesu, and then we'll be back with our conversation for the day.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Ona vile tunachezwa, vile tunabebwa. Ona vile tunachezwa, vile tunabebwa.
Lingori anadai wachana na patika. Told me that nitaka supu with the baby girl. So nikajipa na mimba akanipachika. Kisha kaniruka Kipetero Kiyesu. Sasa nikipiga namba mteja hapatikan. Tadhani high jump na yeye Olympian. Nikiwa napanga kumuonyesha kwetu, aliniruka tu Kipetero Kiyesu. Naishi pale Kasana hawa mapacha. 5 years bila the dad na sijamhata. Wakivunja kitu niulize nani anachapwa. Wanarukana tu Kipetero Kiyesu. Referee. Wana referee.
Ona vile tunachezwa, vile tunabebwa.
Referee. Wana referee.
Ona vile tunachezwa,
Kipetero Kiyesu. Waka apa wakishapata mamlaka, mahitaji wananchi watapata. Waliposhinda ni skendo juu ya sakata, ruka mwananchi kipetero kiyesu. Waliungana eti hiki chama chetu ndio tutatumia kujenga taifa letu, lakini siasa si watu nyemelea tu kisha kurukana kipetero kiyesu. Wakirudi huku tena piga debe, tunawapea mizigo zote wabebe, watazilipa hata madeni kwa pede, kwa bado twaruko kipetero kiyesu. Refari, wana refari,
wana vile tunachezwa, vile tunabebwa.
Refari, wana refari,
wana vile tunachezwa,
kipetero kiyesu. Athletes ujidai wazalendo, kata kuchange citizenship kugeto, lakini juu ya hisi asa na magendo wanatokwa tu kipetero kiyesu. Wasanii wana make ngoma na bidi, toka manyukama mpaka wenye jina bigi. Ngoma ikiblow unadhani pesa ni mingi, MCSK ni kapetero kwa Yesu. MCs utaka kolabo na picha, wanabatizwa, wanaoshwa, wanafichwa. Wakiambiwa Femi wanalikuzika, wanakanaga tu kipetero kiyesu. Refari, wana refari,
wana vile tunachezwa, vile tunabebwa.
refari, wana refari,
wana vile tunachezwa,
kipetero kiyesu. Refari, wana refari,
wana vile tunachezwa, vile tunabebwa.
refari, wana refari,
wana vile tunachezwa,
kipetero kiyesu.
I'm in trouble, I'm in trouble. Red flag on the door.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Baby, I crave for you. Sure, it's not just your eyes, but your eye contact it too. Baby, my favorite is you. I could even drown in love and right away with you. That's why I long for you. I don't need to crave for somebody else. Only you I'm yearning for, widely. So don't mistake my words for lust or playing you. Yeah, please best believe it that I'm down for you, my love. Craving you heaven. I'm craving you heaven. Craving you heaven. I'm craving you heaven. Ononchima obanze nkusange, panga denenga nkuswami, bali abayaye mbona mbanabye ko. Tell me where you are, I'm starving babies and fenjala. Newo be wala, jakutambula baby jakusenguka. Oh, I don't need to crave for somebody else. Only you I'm yearning for, widely. So don't mistake my words for lust or playing you. Yeah, please best believe it that I'm down for you, my love. Craving you heaven. I'm craving you heaven. Craving for my baby, yeah, yeah. Craving you heaven. I'm craving you heaven. I'm gonna be on time and be on time, you know. Baby, when I come over, you open up the door. I don't wanna sit on it in vain for your love. You're my rose, and from up above, yeah, yeah. Tell me where you are. I'm starving, baby, and Fangela. Newo be wala, jakutambula, baby, jakusenguka. Oh, craving you heaven. Don't know me about you. Don't need so much. I'm craving you heaven. Craving you, run more time for this. Craving you heaven. I'm craving you heavy, baby. Ooh, I'm craving you heaven. Craving you heavy, baby.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That was Craving You Heavy by Azawi, our beautiful, beautiful sister from across the pond from Museveni land, Seven Land. That was Craving You Heavy. And before that, we were listening to Kipetero Kiesu by Femiwan and Viri. Today's conversation is, it's a little sad that we are having this conversation because it's like when, you know those things when you wish things are getting better, but then they get worse. On the 8th of March, which just so happened to be International Women's Day, the government announced that they were scraping the Linda Mama insurance. If you are not aware what Linda Mama is, Linda Mama, it started as a free maternity service and it was introduced by the government in June of 2013. And then it was administered by the Ministry of Health. And in July 2016, the free maternity service program was transitioned to NHIF. And that's when it was rebranded to Linda Mama. So it started as just free maternity services and then transitioned to being called Linda Mama. And on Friday, they announced that they were scraping it. And on International Women's Day, of all days, listen, on Friday, I wanted to wear a different kind of, some different shorts that were short shorts. And then when I wore them and I sat down and then I asked myself, do I trust that I will not be harassed in these shorts? Do I trust that just because it's International Women's Day, someone will be like, Leon is queer, yeah, women, let's leave her alone? The answer to that question was no. So I changed my shorts. So imagine on International Women's Day, making such an announcement that's going to have such a huge impact on so many lives. And if you're wondering just like how big of an impact this would have, statistically, between like in the half-year report for the Linda Mama program for 2022 to 2023, Linda Mama, because of access to Linda Mama, there was 89% improvement in antenatal visits because of Linda Mama. There was a 97% increase in improvement of health facility deliveries. Live births went up to 98%. And significant and immediate increase of emergency obstetric care to 27% in level 3, 4, and 5 hospitals. So why would they scrape? Why would you decide to get rid of something that's saving so many lives? And also I'm thinking Linda Mama in general has really saved so many lives, especially in lower income areas, because when you're pregnant and you go to the hospital, you know you'll be taken care of because this service is free for you and your child. So you don't have to worry. It is because Linda Mama is a free health insurance that is exclusive for the mothers and their newborns. So it eliminates that financial barrier of accessing maternal care services. So why would you get rid of such an important service? So that's the conversation we'll be having today. Our conversation is, what does the scraping of Linda Mama actually mean for the women of this country? What does this mean? Listen to Kenyan Message by Muthoni Drama Queen.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Tangu ile siku tukuelect aushikagi simu mentu wezi connect. Nimekuwa nikisaka an appointment, nimekuwa nikisafa disappointment. Siku hizi sukwa naga koteli, sisi maobao wewe lunch hoteli. Panganga na mapoti beli, koni men, watch men. Wanakupangia wakikusalimia, na we uwezi notice hata uwezi dhania. Siku hizi kanti yote venye kuna njaa, kila mtu wanafikiria tu chapa. Don't push me, cause I'm close to that age. I'm trying not to lose my head. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Na wale wanadoni 1%, si uwaonaga siku ya kulipa rent. Sisi ukuwaga ndani ya predicament, biggest spender government. Unchurch officials, na miracles are also artificial. Congregation wako so superficial, wanataka ule Mungu mu beneficial. Unofficial, kitambulisho, unaweza get in a few days, unaweza get in a few ways, unaweza get bila delays. Nowadays, osi hakuna madokta, na gava ijali juu sisi wagonjwa. Tukienda private, tutapay, so ni obvious nani anasay. Don't push me, cause I'm close to that age. I'm trying not to lose my head. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Hakuna do kama futa ya Warabu, lakini pia do kwa futa si ajabu. Venye kina Sepp Blatter wamepakua do kapuve kwa plata. Na venye sisi upendaga news, na venye sisi upeaga views. My likes, my shares, kuji amuse. Na world affairs, my world issues. Siku hizi ni za social media, modern daily encyclopedia. Kufuata hawa ma socialite, wakienda naija kusocialite. Don't push me, cause I'm close to that age. I'm trying not to lose my head. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under. Ni kama jungle sometimes mimi uwanda, mbona sijaenda under.
Power Radio. Tune in and from sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
You are listening to Power Radio. My name is Muthoni Gitao and this is She Talks. And today she talks about why the hell would the government decide to scrape Linda Mama, which is an insurance plan. It's a program that is exclusive for mothers and their newborns. And they have scraped it with no, there's no... One, it was working the way it was. So you don't just scrape something and then not put something to fill that gap. Also, you scraping it does not solve a problem. Linda Mama was here to solve a problem. And the problem that Linda Mama solved, one of the biggest problems that Linda Mama solved was it saved a lot of lives because it eliminated the need to have money for you to go give birth or get antenatal care at the hospital. So it was free to register. You would just go into any institution that is NHIF accredited and you'd be able to get the services for free. Any government hospital, public hospitals, you would be able to go. And it was basically free maternity health care for the newborns and the mothers. The government wakes up on Friday, on International Women's Day. They wake up and they're like, these women, do they even know who they're dealing with? And the first thing they do is get rid of. It's like, let's just get rid of this one. Who needs it anyway? Linda Mama has saved so many lives, and it makes no sense why, one, it would just be abolished. I'm like, did they even give a reason? I don't think they even gave a reason. I'm very curious. Because you don't just wake up and go like, tumetoa kitu, and then bye. Like, tell us why. I feel like this government is making a lot of mistakes. And when I say a lot of mistakes, is that they're just, those things where you just do things and then you don't think about the repercussions. At no point are you thinking, oh, by the way, what does this actually translate to? You're not paying attention to what your decisions are actually doing. The saddest part is, even if they came and said, the problem right now is it's a cost thing. It's a money problem. Oh, we don't have enough money to do ABC. Do you know what you can get rid of? All those random international trips you all go for. Have you considered that? Like, y'all don't have to be on a jet every 3 business days to be off to somewhere. You don't have to be. That you can abolish that. You can put a limit on how many trips people can take. You can put a limit to. Also, here's another suggestion. You don't have to pay people sitting allowance for showing up to their jobs. MPs go to Bunge, senators go to the Senate, governors go for their sittings, and then they're given a sitting allowance for showing up to do their jobs that they're already getting salaries from. You're already getting paid as a low. Why else, again, do you need a sitting allowance? For what? You're here to do your job. Kwani huku soma JD? Huku soma JD ujue what your job entails, that you have to be paid to show up. It's insane. Why not eliminate that? But we are dealing with, I think we are quite the selfish nation, especially when it comes to the ruling class, because they'll never touch anything that's going to reduce the amount of money that gets into their pockets, but they will remove anything and everything else to make sure that their pockets stay lined and they really don't care what happens to the rest of you. It's a very, very sad situation. And I think we need to make a lot more noise about this, because this needs to make sense. Juzi tu mko hapa mnasema you're making it mandatory for everyone to shift to your new health scheme. And then you're like, oh, you guys will start paying, and then we won't be able to do anything for the first couple of months as we are quote unquote setting up. And then after we're done setting up, now we can tell you what you get out of it. What in the madness? What? Sometimes, like, I feel like more and more each day I am convinced that we are living in an illusion, because I'm like, how does that make sense? How can a group of people sit down and go like, yeah, tell them that makes sense? How? According to NHIF, 65 to 70% of deliveries in Kenya are under Linda Mama. 65 to 70% of deliveries in the country. So now you've left those people alone, on their own, because Linda Mama was helping. So, like, what's supposed to fill that gap? Because you're not introducing something new that's going to come. You're not even just saying, oh, we're going to just give it a different name. No, you're just saying get rid of it completely. What happens to this 70% of deliveries that were happening under Linda Mama? Because Linda Mama was a free program. It was free. So that means only 30% of the deliveries, 30 to 35% of the deliveries in the country were the ones that now are happening, say, in those private hospitals where people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars of shillings. Anyway, in this country, kidogo hata hizi maternity mtakuwa mnalipa in dollars anyway. Tuliambiwa Kenya Power tutaanza kulipa in dollars. So what happens to this 70%? Because it feels like no one has given thought to what it actually means. You have gotten rid of the means for access to prenatal and antenatal care to 70% of women in this country, or women who are delivering in this country. 70% is quite a high number for you to just wake up randomly on a Friday morning to be like, yeah, tumetoa hii kitu. Alafu, no explanations, no nothing. It's just like, yeah, this one is going. It's not like removing things from your fridge and saying, inakaa ni kaa imeanza kuharibika, let's get rid of it. No, you actually are supposed to pay attention to the things that you're doing and how they are going to affect the wananchis in the long run. Because this is, I can already tell you, this is going to be really, really, really bad. Over 1.1 million mothers registered for the program every year. This program started in 2013. 1.1 million women, 1.1 million mothers registered for the program every year. So now what happens to them? What happens to, because now it started in 2013, that's over 10 years. That's over 10 years. So if in 10 years you have all these women, what happens to them? What happens to the 1.1 million mothers who would have registered this year for Linda Mama? Now what happens to them? It makes no sense. Why would you scrape this? It really just doesn't add up. Here is Kasioki wa Mitumba by Sero as we take a short break, and then we'll be right back with some reactions from Kenyans.
Power Radio. Tune in and power from sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Habari Kasioki wa Mitumba, mimi kwa mayina nisiombua. Nimekuwa nikikujeki kwa muda, ninafanya kazi pale kwa mama wa mboa. Ukweli ni nimenoki macho yako ya bulu. Me and you, we can stick like glue. We can elope, we can go to Kiambu. Please say yes, say you love me true. My dear Kasioki, come I tell you something about the way I feel I love you. My dear Kasioki, come I tell you something about the way I feel I love you. My Kasioki, come and love me. My Kasioki, I love you. My Kasioki, come and love me. My Kasioki, I love you. Kasioki wa Mutumba. Handsome boy, always looking nice. I am ready to be your wife. Look at me, I have beautiful smile. And I can cook food of any kind. Na sitasema unipeleke Amerika. Mimi hata mudhoko nitakula. Na kama una mimi nitatafuta. Juu nimeamua ni Kasioki wa Mitumba. My dear Kasioki, come I tell you something about the way I feel I love you. My dear Kasioki, come I tell you something about the way I feel I love you. My Kasioki, come and love me. My Kasioki, I love you. My Kasioki, come and love me. My Kasioki, I love you. Ninakupromisi sitakualbreki. Kasioki wa Mitumba, njoo nikupende. Ninakupromisi sitakualbreki. Kasioki wa Mitumba, njoo nikupende. Ewe Kasioki, we Kasioki, Kasioki wa Mitumba, njoo nikupende. Ewe Kasioki, we Kasioki, Kasioki wa Mitumba, njoo nikupende.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Like you care, like you care, like you care. Rangi ya mdomo kwenye shirt, nina uhakika ile marashi siyo yake. Bado yuaja kwangu kitandane, akitaka tu banane. Risiti kila kitu mbili, amejaa maalama kwenye mwili. Bado yuaja kwangu kitandane, akitaka tu banane. Anamlale, anamlala, na siyo siri, siyo habari. Anamlale, anamlala, wala fichi, siyo habari. Niliambiwa kupenzae atakuchiti hadharani. Niliambiwa kupenzae atakustiri hadharani. Jaribu kundanganya kama wanijale, kama wanijale. Jaribu kundanganya kama wanijale, kama wanijale. Jale, 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 jale. Jale, 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 jale. Like you care, like you care, like you care. Like you care, like you care, like you care.
Hata saa ile sidanganyi, unasema mimi nadanganya. Utasikizaje masikio yako shazibana, macho yako yanaona vitu na kuna kitu nafanya. Hapo ndo tumefika na kuongelesha, nikiona unaona niko guilty, haimata kitu nitasema. Ndani ya roho inaumiza, nasikia wivu nikiona wale wanapendana bila kushukushuku sana. Ile inafaa vile unataka kufanya fanya leo leo, kana panda cheo cheo nipande, kana shuka basi nianze kutafuta stage ya mine. Yeah, jifanye kama una care pia, utaniamini uone vile na kuchange ya mine.
Jaribu kundanganya kama wanijale, kama wanijale. Jaribu kundanganya kama wanijale, kama wanijale. Jale, 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 jale. Jale, 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 jale. Like you care, like you care, like you care. Like you care, like you care, like you care.
Never let you down, never will.
Sanaipenda shin to the chilla, to the chilla.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Anamlale, anamlala, wala fichi, siyo habari. Jaribu kundanganya kama wanijale, kama wanijale. Jaribu kundanganya kama wanijale, kama wanijale. Jale, 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 jale. Jale, 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 jale.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That was Jali by Sanaipei and Nyashinsky, aka Not Kenyanjui. Today we are talking about Linda Mama, and just like that song says, our government does not jali us at all, because why would you wake up on International Women's Day and say, hey, you see this program we had for mothers and their newborns, we are completely getting rid of it and bye, and you just move on with life. I don't get it. I think that is very, very sad. And Kenyans have been reacting to this, and I like that a lot of people are calling for something to happen. And on Twitter, aka X, we will always be doing that. There's someone who, her name is Fanny, and she tweeted and said, the government is abolishing Linda Mama, and no female leader is talking about it. Is there any alternative to it? Is there any care? Do they have any concern or concerns? Or as long as they dance to the tune of government, Wanjiko matters little. I wish to see and hear what they say about it, including those on this platform who highly cavort with this government. And I totally agree, because I don't know if it was strategic that this information was just dropped on International Women's Day, because, you know, there's always a lot of hula baloo around the day. There's like the fair. This goes back to the conversation we were having last week about International Women's Day, where on one front, and I'll actually even find that tweet, on one front, they're saying one thing, and then on the other side you're doing something completely different. There is, yes, here we go. So Linda Mama was scraped the day after President Ruto promised women a deputy president position. So how do you one moment say, hey, we're doing things to make things better for women, we're doing things to make sure that there's positions for women, and then at the same time you're like, but also this thing that women and mothers need, we're going to completely get rid of it. Literally, it's what we were discussing on Wednesday, where it's like it's all lip service, but when it comes to actions, here we are. Your actions, I think we need to just stop listening to people and just judge them by their actions, full stop. I think that's what we need to do. Because how do you stand up, give a whole speech and say, listen, my intention is to elevate women. My intention is to create better spaces for women. My intention is to do this. And then you turn around and steal something very, very important to women and mothers. Make it make sense. Because it don't. It don't make sense. Lip service. Everything is for PR. When you're here saying, yeah, we want to have, that makes like a really, really good tagline in the papers, right? It makes like a really good headline. President promises a female deputy president position. That makes a really, really beautiful headline. But then the next day, Linda Mama scraped by the president or by whoever. Like, it just doesn't add up. And again, we go back to, sometimes I know the way things are structured. It's like, yes, when we say, why aren't female leaders, why aren't they saying something? It's very easy for us, even like when we were having the conversation around femicide, which was happening, the march happened on 27th of January, and into Feb, the conversations were going on. And there was this conversation that kept coming. I was like, where are the female leaders? Why aren't they saying something? And I think it's by design, because then that keeps us pointing fingers and looking at them. But you see, the president is not just the president for men. He's the president for the entire country. The CS for health and whatever, they're not the CS for just men. It's for the entire country. So whether a leader is a man or a woman, they are, like, that position doesn't say, but they are only in charge of men or they are only in charge of women. You're in charge of the citizenry of this country. So even male leaders, this is that part where there's this statement I really, really, really hate. And I don't hate a lot of things, but the statement I usually hate is that one. It's like, you have a mother, you have a sister, you have a wife. Don't you think you should say something? I don't like it, but in this case, it applies. They also have to say something. Do they support? Do they support the scraping of Linda Mama? Because the whole idea of Linda Mama was literally to help eliminate the number of deaths that were happening because people didn't have proper antenatal care. People didn't have proper maternal care. And then it does all that. It helps over 70% of mothers. And then your reaction is to scrape it. Your reaction is to get rid of it. That doesn't make sense. With no explanations whatsoever. Because you've not said, oh, no, it's being replaced with this, or we'll still offer the same service, but it will happen this way instead, or we're introducing this instead. No, it's just like it's gotten rid of and then it begins and ends there. There was the tweet that brought this entire thing to my attention. I saw this on Friday and it said, today we celebrate International Women's Day, but my cry goes out to the stakeholders who have done away with Linda Mama and free maternal services. That program has saved thousands of mothers in childbirth. Please bring it back, fund it more, and post medical interns. And I completely agree. This one was by Dr. Muli. I completely agree. It's like, we need to pay attention to these things. We need to pay attention and we need to make as much noise as possible because this is going to put so many lives at risk. This is like the problem that was being solved. There's someone who said something like, just because something was, I'm paraphrasing, but they said, just because something was introduced by the government that was there before you, doesn't mean you just get rid of it because you're like, oh, I no longer talk to those people. If something is good and it's working, let it stay, let it work. It's the same thing with when they were saying they were scraping free primary school education, and it's like, surely, like, what's going on? Because if we were surviving, and let's be honest, also our economy was doing a lot better then than it is now. It's like, where is all this money going? All this money you're saving? Because the saddest part about these things is that all this money that's being saved, it just goes to line people's pockets. It's not being channeled into other spaces. It's not being channeled into making other things better. It is just going directly into people's pockets. And I think that's why even when you hear conversations and people talk about things like, they don't have a problem with paying taxes. The problem is, how is the tax money being used? A lot of people, you can't compare us with countries where people are being charged like 50% of their income is tax. But then at the same time, they go to the hospital. The hospitals are free. You can go to school up to university level for free. You get out of school, there's a job already lined up for you, and you don't have to pay, you don't have to bribe, you don't have to tarmac. Everything is streamlined. Even I would give you that 50%. I would not even feel some type of way. I'd be like, hey, here you go. But here it's like first you take the money, and then what do you do with it? What are the results? Because it's like you're just jetting from one place to the next after just saying, oh yeah, we're going to reduce our trips, and then immediately the next day you're on a freaking jet going somewhere else. Also, the other thing I don't understand, even like with the whole jetting places, because if you're saying, oh, it's a money problem, we don't have enough funds, there's places where like within 3 months, in a span of 3 months, you go 2 to 3 times. What is it that you're going to do the third time that you couldn't do the first time you were there? What conversations are you going to have the third time that you couldn't have the first time round? You go for events where other African leaders are saying, hey, please stop calling us to the table if you're not going to let us have a voice on any. Alafu wewe tu, you and your gumboots, you ingia and your suits. You're on a jet, you go, and then you sit there, and then what? Lip service. Mtupete mnatupiga tu PR, mnapiga PR, but when it comes to things that matter, you actually don't do anything. You're actually not doing anything for the citizens of this country. If Linda Mama goes, so should the office of the First Lady and women reps it. Period. That's a tweet. And also someone said, and also the office of the Second Lady, which is currently occupied by Pastor Dorcas. I agree, because also I don't understand, like, who needs the office of the Second Lady? Nike Mureka, like, what are you doing in this office? You people are just here calling people to come, calling pastors who have issues where they're from. Like, that's the thing I never understand. You're bringing us someone who's already problematic. Kwao hatakwi. But you're like, oh, no. Let's come and pay them millions. Such Kenyans. Are you people not aware that we have access to the same internet you have access to? Do you think that the internet is different on our side, that we can't see certain things? Is that how we're operating? You think we don't have access to certain things? Because we do. And we see what these people are doing. We see what you're doing. Every day. You spend millions. Listen, you spend millions. I love you come scrape something that's saving the lives of women. You spend millions for a man to come pray for people and get pissed off when they won't fall because his miracles are not working the way he had planned, because these actors are not taking their cues. You spend millions on that. You spend hundreds and hundreds of millions on offices that make absolute no sense. Why? What is the office of the First Lady? What is the office of the Second Lady? Alafu, on top of that, you are allocated a huge budget. And then you go over that budget by like twice as much. And you're like, yeah, imagine that was not enough. Like, let's spend more. Can we see what you're doing with this money? And yes, I agree with this person. if we are scraping, if we're getting rid of Linda Mama, then let's get rid of this ati first lady office, second lady. Mnafanya nini huku kwa hizo maofisi? What are they for? Surely, what are they for? It's actually quite sad. It's very, very, very sad. Here is So Alive by Sage and Octopizo.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Of the sky where the lights never die down. I'm awake in my sleep and I'm falling to the ground. I want the answers to the questions of the reactions. Whether it makes sense or the path is fatal attraction. Is it the whiteness of the cloud or the steam in my mirror? Is it the broken of a glass? Could it be more clearer? 'Cause I feel so alive. No one can stop me even if they try. 'Cause I've been trying much too long. You can beat me down, I'll stay strong. 'Cause I feel so alive. Beat me down, I'll stay strong. Through the rain and the hail and the fire. Do whatever they bring till I get my desire. Is it the whisper of an angel or the pounding of my heartbeat? Is it the playing of a record or the drumming in the bass meet? 'Cause I feel so alive. No one can stop me even if they try. 'Cause I've been trying much too long. You can beat me down, I'll stay strong. 'Cause I feel so alive. Beat me down, I'll stay strong.
Walinidharau lakini usikise mtu wangu, kuna venye nimekafunga ka Ramadhan, weze ni sahau tunikingia kwa booth mule boy ukikizwa masnia design ya Chucky Chan, sota mnikate mguu, amwezi ni defeat, finya backspace kwa comp wezi ni delete, kuja na pinya still amwezi kuni beat, na hizo wealth zote mko nazo amwezi kuni reach. Wanadai mimi ni mskini, I need to gain some weight. Mimi maskini my pocket needs to gain weight, cause raha wanabonda after raha wanahara wanakonda kangonda. Mini hustling daily kukula smart make sure nimenona kuliko anaconda. Sikizo wakiniona ni sura wanakwaga wamebonda, hizo mipaka tunazivuka bila bada.
'Cause I feel so alive. No one can stop me even if they try. 'Cause I've been trying much too long. You can beat me down, I'll stay strong. 'Cause I feel so alive. Beat me down, I'll stay strong. No one can stop me even if they try. 'Cause I've been trying much too long. You can beat me down, I'll stay strong. 'Cause I feel so alive. Beat me down, I'll stay strong.
Don't let discouragement get in life. Wala wanakuambiaga uwezi toboa, wala kuchekelea. That time that we proved them wrong. Saizi kuambia otherwise. The future's here with the best leader. I see ego mtu wangu. If you're still hating on us, you're on cause we need it. It's not banana, baby.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio. Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
That was So Alive by Sage Temutai and Octopizo. We are talking about Linda Mama and the fact that it was scraped with no explanations whatsoever. And now I want to look at some reactions from Kenyans upon finding out what's actually going down. Linda Mama was a great equalizer in maternal health. Mothers left with pregnancies by deadbeats benefited to the maximum from Linda Mama. We celebrate International Women's Day at a time when the health of our women is not our concern. Bring back Linda Mama. I think this should be like a full-on campaign where we're like, you know what? Imagine we have to fight for it to come back because we know the kind of lives that it saves. And that was a doctor. That's coming from a doctor, someone who works in the field. So they really, really do know the impact of Linda Mama in everyday life, because they see it every day. The amount of maternal and fetal mortalities and morbidities Linda Mama prevents, Aki. In the public hospital, you would realize the significance. Also, imagine the long hospital stays mothers and their neonates get saved from because they don't have piling hospital bills. Killing Linda Mama program, then celebrating International Women's Day, is the filthiest form of clownery ever since the invention of fire. I agree. It's lip service on one end, but then your actions are not matching. My friend, her name is Ziki. She's actually an amazing artist. She had this to say. She said, Linda Mama saved my twins during the pandemic. My insurance had been scraped after losing my position. And the recent move by KK government is very saddening. And I agree. Because I remember with Ziki, when her twins were born, they had to be in it's called the NICU. Yes, they had to be in the NICU for a while. So now imagine, like, you're putting so many lives at risk. Linda Mama should be protected, should be reinstated, should be appropriately managed. Let's not politic about maternal health. And I totally agree. Linda Mama used to save lives, and saving lives is against the depopulation agenda. Since you went to bend with the Western... Hey, this one is a nini one, it's a fire one. Since you went to bend with a Western elite puppet, you should be prepared for what is to come. You do not need to be a prophet to use common sense. Cosign. The cosign is from me. The cosign is from me. Someone else is asking, 47 women reps being paid, but dead silent on Linda Mama. Such a useless seat. Let me tell you, we are going to have a conversation. One day we're going to have a conversation about what these women rep positions are all about, because I think we need to have a better understanding of exactly what this seat is for. Is it just about representation where you're just there to be seen and not to be heard and not to do anything? We'd rather know that from the beginning instead of us thinking, oh, look, we have people working with us on the other side, but in truth, we are on our own, My research in undergrad was on Linda Mama uptake and efficiency, and I have statistical proof that it works. I am questioning why it is being scraped off, and women reps want 3.8 billion per year to add more women. Listen, I didn't even know this part. 3.8 billion per year to add more women reps to do what? Like the ones who are there are doing nothing now. Why do we need more seats for more people who will come to do more nothing? Surely. Kenya mkona pesa ya kuwaste as a nation. Where? Y'all have the monies. You have all of the monies. It seems you have all the monies in the world. Always. So the funny thing is, on the 9th of March, there's a clip online, and then the health cabinet secretary, kumbe I didn't even know it was a woman, Nakumincha Wafula, was here commending women's role in family health care and assures inclusive maternal health coverage under the new social health insurance fund. The same one you guys are saying. So my question is, like, as you guys are taking 3 months to figure out how your shift, I'll just be calling it shift, by the way, how your shift is going to work, what will be happening to the mothers who are pregnant right now, going into labor right now, because kids are born every day. They're not waiting for you guys to figure out your new social whatnot, whatever, your universal whatnot, healthcare, whatever this thing you're trying to push on us is. Shif. Kina Jagero had a really in-depth conversation around this last week when they were trying to understand the difference between NHIF and Shif. I'll just be calling it Shif, me by the way, I'm seeing stress. Shif. And now I'm like wondering, so these people are saying they need a couple of months for implementation. Why are you bringing us half-baked things then? Go, fix it, come with it when it's a ready thing, and then present it in its readiness and say, this is what we have, this is how it works, this is how much it will cost you, this is what you get from it. But if you're telling me you're figuring it out on the way, then you're shafting me with your shift because you're not telling me from the get-go what I'll get. So you're forcing something down our throats, and even you yourselves haven't figured out how it's going to work. Then you go ahead and you decide to scrap Linda Mama, which has been saving lives. 70%, me, I'm still up over 70% of mothers have used, 70% of deliveries have been through Linda Mama. So even if, say, you bring something similar with the new shift thingy, even if you have something very similar, what happens between now and then? What happens between now and when you guys decide now you're going to implement shift and now it's working and now we know how it works? You were asking for surgery 3 months. What's happening in those 3 months? Babies are no longer being born. We are putting a pause on babies being born. We'll be like, yeah, guys, just hold on for a couple of months. We're trying to figure out shift. And then after shift is sorted and we have an idea of what's going to work, you guys are welcome to now, now you can come through. Is that what we're saying? Because it feels like our government and all the different ministries, all these people, all of them, I'll put all of them in one boat. They just do things for the sake of looking like they're doing stuff. And I don't think they put a lot of thought. I don't think they put any thought into these decisions that they make before they even present them to us. I don't think they put in any thought. I think they just wake up, wako tu hapo like, what to do next? And then wako like, oh, this looks like a good idea. Let's do this. So, I hope we're going to make a lot of noise about the scraping of Linda Mama. For me, where I stand, I think we need to make a lot of noise. We shouldn't let this just go like that. We shouldn't just accept it lying down and be like, okay, it's fine. It doesn't matter. We'll be okay. I'm going to end that there because, mimi, I'm like, this country, sijui ni kuhama tutahama ama ni tuachie sisi twende. I don't know what it is we're going to do, but it's very sad that they also chose to do that on International Women's Day. It says a lot. For me, I think it communicates a lot. That was our show today. My name is Muthoni Gitao. This is She Talks, and you're listening to Power Radio. Power Radio is an online radio, and you can find us via our YouTube page where we go live on YouTube, or you can listen to us via our website, power254.org/Power Radio. Right about now, we are going to listen to Nakaya, Mr. Politician, to close off the show.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Let me hear. Come on, digital. Go.
I've been quiet too long. Me using only mbakura zangu. Ahadi nazo ulizimimina.
That's what's up.
Elimu bora. Afya bora. Barabara nzuri. Ajira nje. Even leo sioni mabadiliko. Hali imekuwa ngumu. No wewe utajirika.
kura zenyu,
No, no,
nipeni
not a
kura
damn thing
zenyu,
straight.
nipeni kura zenyu,
No, if you talk the talk, what can you walk the walk? If you talk the talk, what can you walk the walk? If you talk and talk and talk and talk, what can you walk and walk and walk and walk? If you talk and talk, can you walk the walk? Hey, yeah. Hey, hey, Mr. Politician, yeah, 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 Mr. Politician, it's time to rise, it's time to rise up and speak.
Look, hey yo, Mr. Prime Minister, it's kinda sinister. The prices of gas is so high, it's nonsense, and it's the end of the month. You know the rent due, and all the outsiders buying the land. Why do you sent you? Your check us in the mail, pockets empty. And why we don't get no respect, Mr. MP? See all the promises you made us about jobs and taxes, when we the only ones getting robbed. The facts is the crime is not going up, but time is running out. Cause all we want is change, that's what it's all about. We will accept no less, and our demands are land, bread, housing, and justice. We stand for the 30 million walking these roads you never fix. We're sick and tired of hearing these lies, scams, and tricks. Instead of looking up to these fake ones for hope, remember Amina, the next time you vote, word up.
Power Radio.